During the last sessions, we talked about wireless networks and remain only a short topic about mobile IP. What is mobile IP? Mobile IP is an standard for mobile devices over IP platform. This standard is presented in RFC 5944 20 years ago as mobile IP architecture. Okay. This protocol has been released many years ago, long time before preparing or presenting 4G and LTE, and at that time, 20 years ago, number of wireless networks and number of wireless devices connected to the internet was very short. It's just a few devices and networks had been established at that time. But as we see, during these times, during the past 20 years, we can see that the mobile IP didn't widely deployed around the world. Why? Because during that time, maybe after presenting Wi-Fi or in 2G or 3G networks, mostly people in 2G and 3G especially, people just try to send and receive information in voice format. They just use phone calls. And when they use Wi-Fi technology, the Wi-Fi technology is a local technology, local networking technology. So during this time, we never had enough interest to use mobile IP protocol. But when the 4G technology has been presented, yes, this technology tries to prepare a wide range of bandwidth for data communication, and we know that in cellular networks, it's important to keep sessions of peoples when they are moving, especially when they are using IP connections. And in 4G, also in 4G, we can see that the backbone of 4G networks is IP. When we talked about, for example, a 2G technology network, the backbone of 2G network is completely telecommunication protocols, consists of telecommunication network protocols. Even in 3G, most of the backbone of 3G networks is still telecommunication protocols. But in 4G and especially in 5G, the IP dominance on the back end or background of 4G and 5G technologies. So it's the time, and you can see that in 4G and 5G, mostly we are using mobile IP protocol. So we need to care about mobile IP architecture. When we talk about mobile IP architecture, this architecture is using indirect routing to note. We talked about indirect routing, and we said that okay, in indirect routing, the correspondent should send its information to the home agent, and then the home agent will forward those packets to a foreign agent, and that foreign agent will receive the information to the mobile host, and then that mobile host can send its information, its responses, directly to the correspondent. And as we talked in the last session, to do this, we need some tunnels over the networks. When we talked about tunnels in computer networks, it means that I should replace one packet into another one. I should encapsulate a packet into another packet and then sending that packet over the internet. We call this as a tunnel or tunneling technology. Putting one packet inside into another packet. This is the tunneling. Exam date next week. Next Thursday. When we look on architecture of mobile IP protocols, we can see that similar terminologies, similar to mobile IP protocol, have been presented in 4G technology. For example, in mobile IP technology, we have a home agent, a router who is responsible to manage mobilities in the home network. When we talk about 4G, we have an HSS and home P gateway, PGW devices who presents the role of home agent. In mobile IP, we talked about foreign agent. In 4G, we have MME and S gateway who are similar to foreign agent. And when we talked about moving from one network to another network, reaching to a new visited network. In mobile IP architecture, firstly, the mobile node should register its location in a visited network. So, the mobile device sends its information to its home agent via ICMP messages. We need ICMP extensions. Just this. So we use ICMP extensions as a discovery protocol to announce that the mobile device is placed in a specific network over the internet. We announce its new location to the home agent, to the home network. Okay, your child is here. We done this using ICMP protocols. Okay, so when we talked about 4G technology, we can see that the basics and the primary protocols have been used in 4G are prepared 20 years ago to handle mobility over different networks, different cells, moving from one cell into another one and maybe migrating from one network to another network. We call it handoff and handoff or handovers. Okay? We had supplementary documents and protocols to handle these mobilities. But when we talk about mobility, please pay attention to this. When we talk about mobility, we think about something happens in lower layers. That's true. But when I'm moving from one network to another network, just I change my network. So a routing protocols and a routing strategy should be used to handle this movement, sending information from from the previous network to the new one. Okay, but what is important is that when I'm moving from one network to another network, it directly affects on the upper layer protocols. Directly it affects on upper layer protocols. So we have to minimize this effect. These effects. It means that if I try to handle the mobility of devices, the upper layer protocols should remain unchanged, should remain as the past. The best effort service model in internet, it should be safe. It should same as previous. When we talk about TCP and UDP, we should keep them over a wireless network, a wireless media, over a mobile network. Even when I'm changing my network myself from one network to another one. Okay, they should be unchanged. The effects of this mobility should be minimal over this transition, moving from one network to another one. But we know that this is not easy. Why? Because when I'm moving from one network to another network, it's possible to lose some information, some packets. It's possible some packets receive some errors, bit errors, some delays. Even maybe my handover fails. If I lost the handover process, it means that I will lose the connection. I should start a new connection again in the new network. And maybe it takes some time. Maybe when I'm using a TCP protocol to handle the congestion levels in a network, when I'm moving from one network to another one, handoff, when I'm doing a handoff, it can affect and decrease the congestion window. Maybe this reduction in the size of congestion window is not necessary. It's unnecessary, maybe. But during this change, moving from one network to another one, it happens. Maybe during this movement, high priority packets such as, for example, real-time traffics, maybe they receive longer delays, additional delays during this movement, this handoff. Maybe in the new network, I could not guarantee enough resources over wireless links. Maybe. What does it mean? It means that when I'm talking about mobility and wireless, especially wireless networks, it's completely possible that the specifications of wireless networks, and especially mobility in wireless networks, it directly affects on the traditional protocols in computer networks. So it's a question: should I continue with the traditional protocols, or I should refine them? I should update them to work better in wireless network, or I should replace them. It's a big question. What should I do? Keeping the old protocols, updating them, or replacing them? And we know that when we look on IP version 6 history, we see that if I try to replace something with a new one, with a newer version, it's not easy. It takes too long time. So I don't know, maybe it's not the time to replace some protocols. We should adopt the old protocols with the new conditions, or deploy new protocols and new network structures based on the requirements of the old protocols. This is one of the main challenges in wireless networks. And for example, you can look for TCP fairness. Look for this TCP fairness in wireless networks. If you look for this topic, you can receive some interesting materials, especially some interesting papers. Those papers say that, okay, we test traditional TCP strategies, especially congestion strategies of TCP protocol on wireless network, and we see that those protocols strongly affected by the behavior of wireless platforms. Why? Because in wireless platforms, when we talked about CSMA-CA, we talked about CSMA-CA in the first of this chapter. When we talked about CSMA-CA, this protocol may be deferred the transmission because of its nature, to avoid collisions in wireless platforms. So simply, the CSMA-CA would defer the transmission, but in the upper layer, in layer 4, TCP thinks about things that, okay, since some congestion happens in my network, and at that time, the congestion control mechanism of TCP would be started. It will reduce the size of congestion window, size of sending packets over the network. So if you look on this condition over a wireless network, you can see that in some cases the sources cannot send enough information, and we can see some unfair conditions over wireless network, especially in Wi-Fi networks. You can search for TCP fairness in wireless networks or in Wi-Fi networks. Okay, and this is the end of chapter 7. Is there any question about chapter 7? Any question? Okay. Wait. Okay, wait for upload. I will start to talk with you after this upload. Okay. Yes. After chapter 7 now, we will start to talk about chapter 8. Yes. We will work on chapter 8. But until finishing this upload process, I should mention one important thing. Some of you asked me to extend the time of homework on chapter 1. Homework of chapter 1. It was finished on a couple of days ago. Okay, I will extend the time until the end of this week. But please note that during this time, I will upload another homework of chapters 4 for you. And now we finished chapter 7. So we have some other homeworks in a few days. Okay, in next weeks we have other homeworks. So I will, again, I'm repeating that I will extend the time of the first homework, assignment homework 1, number 1. But at the same time, I will upload a new homework of chapter 4 for you. And next week, on Tuesday, we will have final quiz of chapter 4. Okay, please be patient. Same as the previous panel. Let me look on previous quiz. Quiz of chapter 1. 15 o'clock. 15 o'clock Tehran times. Okay. On Tuesday. Okay, please be patient. We need to complete this. In Iraq, I think your time, the difference between the time of Baghdad and Tehran is half an hour, I think. Yes. If it's true, so in Iraq, it would be started on 4:30. Yes. Okay, I will extend it. Just don't worry, okay? I will do my best, and I need you to do your best too. But do it yourself, please. Don't ask for help from other guys in the class or out of the class. Do your homework, your assignments yourself. You do your best, and I will do my on my best. I should think right now. I don't know. I should prepare the question. I think 15 questions. No, 50 questions is not too much. That's enough. Because after each question, we will finish that chapter. We never go back to that chapter. So 15 questions is good. It's not too much. I will increase the time, but I cannot put questions in, for example, multiple exams or multiple quiz. It's better to take the whole questions in one exam. You don't fail on the previous exam. You just lost some marks. So you need to work on it to recover your marks in the upcoming exams and homeworks. The previous exam has only 1.5 marks. Okay, from 20 marks, the previous exam had only 1.5 marks. So don't worry about it, but try to take a good exam in the upcoming exam and the upcomings and the future exams and homeworks and assignments. Okay. Okay, I will stop my trying NMS for the exam. Yes, sir. Trying in NMS for the exam 2 or 3 times because the time is limited in the multiple choice questions. The total time of the exam is limited. So if, for example, I allowed you to enter, for example, 10 times, you cannot enter because there is not enough time to do that. 2 or 3 times, you can enter to the exam 2 or 3 times. If you receive a bad conditions in the first exam, then you can try to enter to the exam again. Do your best, Zainab. Do your best. Then the God will help you. Not me. The God will help you. Just I'm a tools. The God will help you. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. I will stop my voice for a few minutes to complete this processing, uploading this chapter 8, the slides of chapter 8. Okay. I will stop talk for a few minutes. Okay. Okay. Chapter 8. In chapter 8, we want to talk about security, network security. Okay? It's another main topic in computer networks. Here, in this chapter, we talk about some basic principles of network security. Especially, we talked about cryptography and confidentiality, authentication, message integrity, and also we talked about some practice in security using different devices in computer networks to keep the network secure. Okay, we will talk about all of this, and we will talk about firewalls. We will talk about ID systems and how we can receive security in application layer, in transport layer, in network layer, or in data links layer. Okay, so this chapter is important for us because we know that in current days, the network security is the utmost important topic for us, because we can see that the computing devices influence all of our lives. We keep everything in our computing devices, and most of them are connected to the internet. So security is important for us. In chapter 8, we talked about security, but let me start with this. What is network security? When we talk about what is network security, we should, to answer this question, what is network security, we should present some important concepts. Maybe someone says that security is keeping confidentiality. What does it mean? When we talked about confidentiality, it means that I'm sending a message to another one, okay? And I'm trying to keep it confidential, to keep that message confidential. It means that only me as the sender, okay? Only me and the receiver understand what is inside that message. For example, if I try to send a message for Ahmed Faiz, okay? Nobody of you should understand the content of my message. Nobody of you. This is the confidentiality. For example, if I say, Ahmed Faiz, how are you? Are you okay? All of you can understand what I'm saying. Okay? So this message is not confidential. Instead of this, I can encrypt. Firstly, I can encrypt my message to Ahmed. Then I can send it over the network. And Ahmed can decrypt the received message, and he's asking me, who am I? How am I? You can see that message, that encrypted message, but you cannot understand what is the real content of that message. In your daily life, most of times, for example, you have some secrets with some other guys, and for example, you're saying, okay, it's very good, for example. And the other side, who knows? Okay, it means everything is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is bad. Happens bad. Okay. This is a simple method for encryption. You say something, and the other side understands something else. But if I hear through the message, I understand something else. I can't understand the real or the main content of that message. So when we talk about confidentiality, we are looking for this. Encrypting a message, sending it over a common network, a common platform. Look at this, a common platform over internet. It means that someone else can stand in that network. It's not a dedicated network. Someone else can sit over that network, and he or she can hear my message. So I'm encrypting the message, then sending it over the network, over a shared network, and the other side, the receiver, receives the message, decrypts it, and extracts the real message. This is one of the means of security when we talked about security, but it's not all of security. We have another aspect too, authentication. What does it mean? What is authentication? For example, here, how can I understand Ahmed Faiz himself? Maybe someone else enters into the class and type the name Ahmed Faiz, for example. So how should I understand that Ahmed Faiz is my student in this class? Is the real Ahmed Faiz? We call it authentication. The sender and receiver should confirm their identities to each other. Both sides. Maybe one side, maybe both sides. They should confirm their identity to the other side. Okay? The third aspect of network security is message integrity. What does it mean? It means that if I send a message to Ahmed, Ahmed should understand that my message is completely delivered to him, and if the message has been corrupted or has been altered during this task, because I'm sending the message over a shared network, over a common network, okay? Some other guys are in this network, so they may alter the message, make some changes in the message. So Ahmed wants to ensure that if the message is altered, he can understand that message is altered. That message is changed by someone else. I don't know who changed the message, but Ahmed should be ensured that my message is altered or no. Maybe during transmission, maybe after receiving, I don't know. So message integrity means that the sender and receiver want to ensure the message is not altered. And if it's altered, the sender and receiver should should detect that alteration, that changes in the message. Oh, this message is altered, this message has been changed somewhere else. I don't know, but this message is changed. The content of this message is changed. For example, someone add something else into the message. So the sender, please resend your message, or please confirm that your message is correct. Is it your message? Did you send this message? This is the role of message integrity. I should understand that I'm sending the correct message. And if my message has been altered or has been changed during the pass until the receiver should understand that this message is changed. I don't know why. I don't know who applied these changes. Who altered the message? I don't know. But I know that this message is altered. Okay? This is the third aspect of network security. And the fourth one is access and availability. It means that I should receive a service always, all the time. The service should be accessible and available all the time. In today's, we can see lots of DOS attack and DDoS attacks. What is DOS or DDoS attack? In DOS or DDoS attack, the intruder tries to send lots of requests to a server. The server would be congested, and so the server could not answer to the real requests, to the legal requests. So I'm a legal user. I'm trying to connect to the server and receiving the service. As much as I tried, I see that service is busy, stay, and I don't receive responses from that server. Why? Because the server is under attack, under DDoS attack. So I see that server is not available. I cannot access to the server. DOS or DDoS attack are standing among the most dangerous attacks in current days. DDoS attacks are easy, but they are standing among the most effective attacks. They are easy, but they are very powerful attacks. And we will try to cut the access of legal users to a server. So access and availability are another aspect of network security. Are there any aspects in network security? Yes. There are other aspects. But three main aspects of network security are confidentiality, authentication, and message integrity. These are standing as a basic of network security. And access and availability are important too. But some others, if you look on different books, in computer networks or in security topics, computer security topics, you can find different other principles around the network security. But in this book, we only talk about these four basic principles. Okay. So let me start with these items here. And firstly, let me start. Let me start with Alice and Bob, two lovers. Alice and Bob. In Farsi, Khosrow and Shirin, or Layli and Majnun. If you read Farsi books, you can find Layli and Majnun and Khosrow and Shirin. They are lovers, couple lovers. When we talked about network security, those lovers are Alice and Bob. Okay, Alice and Bob are fall in love together, and a third person, 3D, here, this guy here, he tries to corrupt this relation. He or she acts everything to corrupt this relation, the relationship between Alice and Bob. Okay? And the truth is, sits here between Alice and Bob. Alice and Bob has a channel to send their messages, and Trudy is sitting here in this channel. If Alice and Bob sends their information over an unsecure channel, the Trudy can hear, the Trudy can interrupt or alter the message and maybe hijack the station between Alice and Bob. If Trudy hijacked a station between Alice and Bob, then he can send some bad information, some bad information or something wrong to Alice or Bob. For example, to the Bob, the Trudy says that, okay, Bob, I don't love you. You are a bad man. And at the same time, sending to Alice, oh, you are not good. You are crazy. I don't know. You are stupid, Alice. You are not beauty or something like that. So this Trudy can do everything because he or she is sitting here, right, over the communication channel between Alice and Bob. So if Alice and Bob wants to send in their information without any drops or without any problem, any altering, any changes, they have to use a secure channel. They should create a secure channel between themselves, and then sending and receiving their messages over this secure channel. Everything should be sent over this secure channel. And at that time, the Trudy cannot understand what they say. Okay, but one main question, who is Alice and Bob in real life? Who is Layli and Majnun, Khosrow and Shirin in real life? It's a story. Layli and Majnun is a story. But in real life, who is Bob and Alice? Yes, in real life you cannot find Layli and Majnun or Khosrow and Shirin. I know, but in our real life, our digitalized life, over this World Wide Web, over this connected life, we have several Bobs and lives, Bobs and Alices. Bob or Alice can be a web browser and a web server. This platform here, my Adobe Connect, I'm connecting to a server. So my Adobe Connect client can be Alice or Bob, and the server on the other side, the Adobe Connect server, it can be Alice or Bob. Maybe, for example, my brother. And what he or she can do. The bad guy or bad girl can do truly a lot. Maybe bad guys intercept my messages. Maybe they actively insert some messages from my side, sending some messages from my side to the other side. did they create a fake identity of mine. And using that fake identity, or spoofing my ID, Trudy can send information from my side to the other side. Okay, I'm Hussein غفاريان. I'm asking to send me, for example, $10,000 if you want to pass this course. Okay? Then you receive this information, this message from my side. Is it true? غفاريان asked me to do this. He asked to send $10,000 to put $10,000 in my pocket if you want to pass this course. Is it true? It's an impersonation. Someone else create a fake identity of mine, okay, and send some bad request from my side. Regarding IP spoofing. Maybe the bad guys hijacked my session. It means that they take over my connection with Alice or Bob. And if they do this, the Trudy can receive my messages, and then the Trudy can change my message and send something else to, for example, Alice or Bob. And then, when the Trudy receives the messages from Alice or Bob, the Trudy can change them and send something else to me. We call it hijacking, taking over the connection. So and that time I'm not directly connected to the other side, and maybe I lost the connection forever because of hijacking. Someone else comes and insert himself in my places. That is terrible. Hijacking is terrible. Because in the first steps, I'm passing the authentication steps, I'm passing the authentication process, and now the Trudy hijacked my session, and Alice thinks that I'm the real Hussein. But I'm not, because the Trudy hijacked my session. Oh, Alice, I'm not. Someone else acts instead of me. That is true. Okay? And denial of service. We talked about this. And as I said, denial of service means that the Trudy or the bad guys tries to cancel receiving services by the legal users. They prevent receiving that services with the legal users. Okay? How? Simply, they just overload the server. And after overloading the resources of the server, I cannot receive the service. It's simple, very simple. So, Atlas can do many things. And that is interesting. It's very interesting. In the primary internet, nobody can think about security, network security, over internet. Nobody. If you look at, for example, TCP/IP protocol stacks, you can see there is nothing about security over the network inside the protocols. It's something true in the first days of internet. But after a while, they found that, oh, everything is wrong. We need security. So scientists try to add different security mechanisms. to the networks, to computer networks, to keep it secure. And every day, you can hear about some attacks all around the world. Every day, maybe every hour. If you have an account from I forgot it. There's a security Russian security company. If you have an account from that company, you can see real-time attacks over the different networks all around the world. I forget the name of that company. Sorry. But bad guys are real. Bad girls are real. And you are living with them in the same world. So, what should we do? We should talk about those aspects, those principles that I talked about them. And the first one is cryptography. What is cryptography? Alice and Bob try to send their messages to the other side. Their messages are plain text, are in plain text. It means that their messages are not secured, are not encrypted. Plain text is a text without encryption. Okay? Alice and Bob should send their messages into an encryption algorithm. In this algorithm, for example, Alice uses her key as key of Alice, K of A here, key of Alice. Alice uses her key to encrypt her message. The result is ciphertext. The result is ciphertext. Ciphertext is the encrypted message encrypted by a key, an encryption key. For example, if the message is the message which is encrypted by the key, by the Alice's key. This is the ciphertext. And in the other side, Bob will receive this ciphertext. Bob should decode or decrypt the received message by his key, K of B, okay, key of Bob. Okay? So we showed it, we presented it in this manner here. The received, the main message is M, K of M is the encrypted message by Alice's key, and K of B of K of A of M is the decrypted messages decrypted by the Bob's key. Using the Bob's key, we decrypt the messages which is coded by the Alice's key. We present it in this manner here. So we look for this, and we know through this here. We know that through this here. Okay, what Trudy can do? Trudy tries to attack to this ciphertext, but what she can do, what she or he can do, okay? If Trudy has the key, simply the Trudy can decrypt the message. Simply. So we must keep all keys safe. We must keep them safe, all the keys. But okay, if Trudy has not the key, then what she can do? If Trudy has not the key, Trudy should analyze the ciphertext. If she wants to know what is inside the message, she has to analyze the message. We have two different approaches to do this, to analyze this ciphertext. The first one is using brute force technique. In brute force, the Trudy has to apply every other possible keys to decrypt the message. All of possible keys. If you use brute force strategy, I will promise that one day you can break the security. You can decrypt the message, but one day, not today, not now. Maybe 1 million years later, maybe. I don't know when. Okay? I don't know when. Maybe 1 million years later. One day you can break the security mechanism and decrypt the ciphertext. One day. So, the brute force strategy can always handle the work, but we cannot grant it the time. So, for example, you are trying to register in different websites and you can receive this message. Okay, your password is not strong enough. Use, for example, different combinations of alphabetic characters, lower one or big one characters. Use special characters. Use numbers. Use a combination of all of these. Why? Because of this, Trudy can make a brute force attack on your account. So if you use a strong account, strong password, the Trudy should spend too many times to pass your password, to crack your password and making access to your account information. So brute force is always success, but who is care about the time? This strategy can be used only for systems with very weak, very short passwords and keys. The other strategy is using statistical analysis. For example, mostly we use this. For example, if you look over internet, you can receive a list of common passwords. Just simply look over internet. Okay, you receive this list. So Trudy, firstly, Trudy start to check those passwords over your account. And most of times, that is interesting. Most of times, Trudy is success. Trudy successful. Break your account. Most of times. That is very interesting. We have two different attacks: noun plain text attacks and chosen plain text attacks. In noun plain text attacks, Trudy has a plain text. Okay, it says it try to make a relation, a map between the text inside the ciphertext and the text in the plain text. For example, the Trudy knows that this message is sent by Alice. So the Trudy will look for characters of Alice, ALICE. And the other side is Bob. So I can look for Bob too, B and O characters. Okay? Trudy knows that this message is sent between Alice and Bob. So the Trudy looks for those characters. Looks for those monoalphabetic characters. The Trudy will try to replace those characters and find the strategy for encryption in the message. And the other type of attack is chosen plain text attack. In this type, the Trudy can choose some choose and replace some text from ciphertext with the text in plain text, directly replacing those one. Here, the first one, the Trudy tries to replace the monoalphabetic characters, and in chosen plain text, Trudy tries to replace a complete word. For example, here the Trudy can use that common list of passwords. Okay. I think that is enough for today. Any questions? You do. I wish the best you in the rest of this week. Have a good day and bye. Bye bye.